He should be fine for round one. Yeah, he'll be touch and go for this week. He's doubtful this week. But, we've got a waffle game next week, which he might get to. But at the moment, we've got him for round one. Well, we need him at the moment because of, obviously Rosa leaving and Maston's a bit sore himself. So that outside run, that role is actually it's quite a difficult role to play. So he knows how to play that. So it'd be handy if we had him back.
What about Jack Redden and Dom Sheed? Are they tracking okay?
Yeah, we haven't had match committee for this week yet, but I've got them down to play some minutes at senior level. Unless I get persuaded otherwise, I think they'll play seniors this week. Yeah, look, Luke could have played last week, so he was just precautionary measures last week, so good to have him back and get a bit more settled. We were missing some players last week. It looked like a really strong side, but the core group of our midfield were all disrupted, so good to have them back, and we'll go in probably as strong as we can this week.
Is Marston a little bit ahead of where you were hoping, or not hoping, the other way? Is he a bit ahead of where you thought he might be right now?
I think because of his light frame, the injury is going to give him a few extra weeks than it would for, I think Josh Kennedy did it a few years ago and missed 12 weeks. I feel like he's probably ahead of, he was walk-jog yesterday, so he's ahead of a few players already. I'd love to swing him forward. It's just how it fits into the side, So he was such a good half-back for us last year. So I don't want to lose that. And he does have presence as a forward as well. So how does that fit into our side with our talls? It's something we're trying to manage, and we may try this week at stages. Definitely did it on the weekend in the last quarter. I probably should have done it earlier. It was only the last 5 minutes we swung him forward. So we'll have a look at that as we go. But he's got flexibility. It's just how the team fits around that. I'd like to explore that as well. But once again, how does that work with 4 on the bench? How does it work with Nick can't ruck the whole game? So we need a second backup ruckman. At the moment, Lycett's playing that role, and then Giles is knocking on the door as well. So once again, it's about flexibility. And if we had to go to Gov as a forward and a second ruck, we've got to train it. So that's just part of our flexibility. We've been training that all pre-season. There'll be less arguments about the sub, but it also presents different issues because players coming back from injury, sometimes you can make them as a sub and they've got 60, 70 minutes in them. Now it's how do we manage that with no sub? So strangely enough, there's different issues. And what kind of balance you have on the interchange. Can you play 3 mids, 2 mids, 4 mids? So all those things, I think each club will go through those scenarios, and we're no different. No, he won't play this week. He's just had a little bit of a niggle after he hurt his foot. Coming back, he played an intra-club and then got a bit of a knock on his knee. So that's progressing slower than we thought. So every week he misses is another week we've got to get him up and going. So at the moment, he won't be available this week, and he'll be touch and go for round one.
So you're worried about these little small...
Always worried about
some sort of media, it's starting to pile up a bit.
Yeah, last year we were light on for key defenders, and now it seems to be our midfield that's copping a bit of a hit. But I think every club must go through little niggles like this, or we seem to cop them more than others. So I'm assuming most clubs go through these niggles. Well, I'm not quite sure this year, but this week they'll get 7 or 8 players back, if not more, from last week's game. So I haven't read too much into the NAB 2 game against the Cats. I looked at the NAB 1 game a lot because they played a stronger side, and they'll get some experience back this week. So, just like the Gold Coast have come over with a young side, plenty of excitement. They really hunted us, the Gold Coast. So I'm assuming Essendon will do the same. So it's going to be a really good hit out for us, and we'll play our, pretty much full strength side, and I'm sure they'll play best available as well.
So I think one of the phrases yesterday is what he's done is done. But what do you take from last year, given such a great rise up the ladder?
We learned a lot from last year, especially the finals campaign. A couple of home games here that were, really high expectations. Obviously the grand final disappointment. So we've probably learnt more than ever in the last month of our football, and we'll take that into this season. But it's really hard to look back that far now, and we don't talk about it. Now that we're starting to do a few more interviews, I think people ask us about it, and it's like, oh, geez, hang on, we've got to go back 5 months to think about that. So we've moved on, and there is a sense of let's just get on with it. I think there is a danger for every club that rises quickly that they can go back down just as quick. I think that's a fair comment. In terms of style of play, you know, if we were pretty good at contested ball, score some stoppages, turnovers in our front half, they're things that have got nothing to do with game plan. It was more intent. So as long as we can bring that intent, the style of play and how we defend, that's secondary. But the hunt is the main part of our game, and I'm sure every club will say the same thing. We were in the top couple in the comp last year, and if we can replicate that, then we can get our style of play going. Good. He hasn't missed too much football at all. Had a bit of a sore back around the community camp week, but other than that, he's been available for training every session. So we've managed it better this year. He really limped over the line in the end of last season, so we need to manage his load throughout pre-season. But when he's fresh, he can really explode onto a game. And I think even third quarter on the weekend, I thought he helped us get back into the game with his aggression. So we'll manage him as best we can, but he'll play this week.
Do you think someone like Nick would benefit from an extra rest throughout the year? Is he that perfect type of player to be given a week off at some point other than the breaks?
Maybe. Yeah, it's interesting. Some players actually go worse after a rest. You know, your body gets in that groove, and sometimes you pull up even sorer because you've had a week off. So, but Nick may be a different athlete. So we need to look at that, but it's just too tempting to not play him when we need him to play. So it'd be great if we could manage his game time throughout the year, and we might have to be a bit braver than we have in the past. It's hard to judge that. I think the testing's, it's always marginal when you get to this point of the season. It's more probably just the health of our list and who's done the minutes. So we've got more players who've had more minutes in their legs this year than last year. Last year we were coming off lots of injuries, and we lost a lot of players around mid-February, and we just struggled to catch up. We've lost some players this pre-season, but it's been a little bit more stable. So if you look at our overall training minutes, it's probably in front than last year, but that doesn't mean it's better. It's just there's been more of a base that's been built this year. The teams that consistently play finals, their cycle's a month ahead than other teams, and we're still in the other cycle. So we've just clicked over. Whether we can back it up this year and you know, be up and going in the back half of the year, that time will tell. But you know, good sides start pre-seasons later and finish the seasons later, and we're hoping to be one of those sides. But I reckon there's at least 18 sides thinking the same thing. No, he won't play this week. He actually hurt his calf in the warm-up before the Adelaide game, and he played through with the pain, and he's just taken probably a few days longer than we thought. So I'd say he'd be available next week. It's not the end of the world, though. So I'm not grind poor on our injuries. I think that's just the way it is, and being as honest as we can here, and we'll get a lot of players back for round one.